You're not going to get the sale if you don't offer a way for them to pay. Check out this episode. Hey everybody, it's Ben here from the Building Business channel, and I've got Kevin from Sunlight Financial with me. Super glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk a little bit about finance because you guys are the finance gurus, and I think the first place to start is we haven't seen a lot of adoption of financing in like the home exterior space. Why do you think that is? Why has it not been a thing that you see very often?
Great questions. We really see a couple of things from our contractors. One, and probably the most common, those who don't leverage financing simply say, my customers never asked me for it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you think about the whole process here, a roofer or an exterior contractor comes out to your home, you've known this person for all of 30 minutes, and you're supposed to confess to them that you can't afford to pay for it.
Yes.
So what happens
is an awkward situation, right?
Yeah, what ends up happening, you leave the house, and then they look at each other and go, honey, how are we going to pay for this?
Yeah.
The successful contractors cut that off right at the beginning. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, just want to let you guys know we have some great finance options available.
That's cool. So you're thinking it's somewhat of a chicken and the egg thing. They're not asking for it, but they don't know it exists in the first place to ask for it. So really the strategy there is to start bringing it up earlier in the conversation. When should you start talking about financing with a customer?
Early and often.
Yeah.
At the appointment setting, you know, before you even schedule it.
Just to let you guys know, we've got some financing options for you.
I mean, it's something simple as walking up to the door. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, my name is Kevin. Before we get started, I know this could be a stressful time. Take a deep breath. We have great finance options. Why don't you take me to the roof, the windows, whatever.
So how do you just determine what financing provider to use? How do you know what's a good one, what's a bad one? There's a lot of different ones probably trying to get you to use them every day as a contractor. How do you pick?
You know, if I was a business owner, I would go for ease of use, because you think about the biggest proponent of it is your sales reps in the home.
Yeah.
You have to change behavior. And if you're going to change your behavior, it better be something very simple to use. Because if it's not, they're not going to adopt it. So process in the home is super important. So when those reps talk about offering financing to the customer, the ability to transact quickly, seamlessly, and get on to the next job. And that's really what our system is set up for those novice sales reps who are a little nervous of potentially messing up their sale with a process they're not familiar with. Make it really simple for them to transact. Use our mobile app. Quickly figure out what that payment could be. Display it to the consumer and hand it to them and let them take over.
And then they can fill out their own personal details to get qualified right there on your phone or your tablet or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, not only can they fill out the credit app, you can actually sign the loan docs right then and there, so you have a bona fide sale before you leave the home.
That's awesome. The one close sale is the future of this industry, and it's what everybody should be working towards. And part of that is having a finance solution, it seems like.
So then the next question is, well, you know, the fees and everything associated with it. If you're not offering financing, customers aren't asking you for it. The next logical thing is, well, I don't want to pay for it. Okay.
Yeah, by the way, we hear that a lot. Like, oh, financing sounds great, good for the homeowner, but I don't want to pay these fees. There's origination fees sometimes. There's sometimes percentages of the loan that the contractor has to pay. What do you do? How do you figure that stuff out? It's kind of complicated, frankly.
You know, it's just like any fixed cost in the business world. If you're taking credit cards, how do you handle the credit cards? If your cost of shingles went up, how would you do that? This is just another tool that's going to help you sell more business. And every single tool, whether it be marketing, whether it be a lead service, whether it be a CRM, they have costs. You take that, you build it into your pricing, you make adjustments, and you move on. The difference with financing, you can actually get some that don't have any costs.
Wow.
And if you want, there's other programs that you could use to leverage with the homeowners, but we can help you with all of that. Just to get started though, there's several programs that don't cost you anything, like literally nothing. No surprise fees, nothing.
It's just the percentage of interest on the loan. That's the only place that there's any money getting interchanged.
Yeah.
And the homeowner's paying that as part of their interest rate.
Yep.
That's awesome.
But you think about it, I mean, what other business tool could you plug into your business today that doesn't cost you anything to sign up for, doesn't cost you anything if you don't use it, and can have a material impact on the leads you have today? Today, the leads you don't have to go out and get more leads, the ones you have today. Financing is one of those rare things that can do that.
One of the things I'm wondering about, how often does having a finance solution help you close at a higher rate? Do you have any data on this or any anecdotal information about that?
Yeah, a couple things. First, you see that the average ticket tends to increase anywhere between 15 and 25% when you start leveraging financing.
Okay, hold on. We got to talk about that. That's awesome. You're saying that when you offer financing, you can charge more on the job, basically.
Not charge more on the job, but the homeowner, you're empowering the buyer, the customer, to have more flexibility in what they can afford.
Okay, so they can, for instance, in a roof, they can get the better shingles.
Exactly.
Because now they can afford that monthly payment that they couldn't have paid in a balloon sum.
Yeah, when you're thinking about all the additions, when a consumer is focused on $8,000 and they can only afford $8,000, when it's $120 a month versus $135 or $160, that customer is more likely to make that jump because they're not focused on that one amount.
Yep.
You're making it more affordable for your customer. And you're doing a better service for them because they want the better products. They want the more efficient products. They want things that are going to add more value to their home.
Their home's going to last longer if they invest in the better quality materials that they thought they couldn't afford, right?
Mm-hmm. And then it wraps it all up into the customer experience because now you look at all of your other competitors who aren't using the tools. Those customers have the stress of going to their own bank or trying to figure it out. You get it done like that in the home and watch the referrals come, and you're doing a great service for that consumer.
Yeah, super, super cool. One of the things we've seen in roofing is in Florida and stuff, we're starting to see like an insurance on your house for getting a re-roof done. You're having to pay like half of the entire cost of the roof as your deductible. These are insanely high amounts of money. It's not just like a $500,000 check. This is money that most people don't have. What could financing do to help that problem?
Well, I mean, that's not just limited to the insurance market. That's just retail roofing in general.
Just in general.
You get the price shock where people are expecting it to cost $8 and it costs $16 because by and large, a lot of people don't really know the true value of the products. So you have multiple options you can use to help that consumer. One is a low monthly payment. I mean, we have loans that you can go out as long as 15 years. So if that consumer's budget conscious, you can stretch that out and lower that payment. You know, on the flip side that we haven't really touched upon is the cash consumers. There are people that have the money, and financing can help with that too.
Oh, tell me about that.
Cash buyers want to do one thing: keep their cash.
Yep.
So we have promotional offers. You can go 6, 12, 18 months, for example, where you can take that cash consumer, tell them to keep the money in the bank, give them 12 or 18 months to pay it off. They might also upgrade as a result of that because you're deferring that big payment for them. So it's not just the payment buyers, it's also the cash buyers. That's why you don't know who you're talking to when you get in the home. So you have to offer it early, offer it often, and offer it to everybody because you don't know what situation you're in until that customer tells you.
And I love that this is doing such a good service for that consumer. I mean, a lot of times people think financing and loans is sort of a negative thing, but if you can't afford, your roof's leaking and you can't afford to fix it, then like this is the way to do it. Or if you really feel strongly that you want to help the environment with solar or whatever, but you can't afford a solar system, like this is the way to do it. Finance that system and you can actually do that great thing for that consumer that they couldn't access otherwise. You're being the enabler here.
Yeah, look at how every other product is purchased. The home, right, on a mortgage. The cars in the driveway. The electronics, the jewelry, financed. I mean, the phones. How many people are spending a couple $1,000s on phones? It's all financed. Why is home improvement any different?
Yeah.
We're a payment society, and all of these companies find solutions to help their customers out. That's what we're trying to do here for roofers and all contractors, really.
That's a great point. Okay, I'm a typical contractor. I don't really understand financing that much, but I know I need to offer it, let's say. What if the customer asks me questions? I don't really understand multiples or tables or actuaries or anything like that. What system am I looking for, and how can that system help me answer those questions without me being an expert on financing?
Sure. Before you even get to that point, my team will help you out with everything you need. From the point you enroll with us, we'll assign you to all kinds of individuals that can help you learn how to offer it, how to use it, and how to leverage all of our tools in the home. Okay, so we have
Okay.
all kinds of training to help you along the way. For small contractors, big contractors, everybody gets treated the same. And if you're in that situation, when you're in the home and you went through the training and you panic and you freeze, relax. There's some tutorials on the app, there's an info button, and there's a number you can call to connect to your account manager, your account rep, and they can walk you through those. If nothing else, you can call our customer service line and they can talk to the customer and help you out.
Wow. So they could help you close in the home right there. What about credit reports? I think this is a big concern sometimes. Like, well, I'm dealing with homeowners, they might have really bad credit. How do I get them into, they can't afford anything, they don't have the cash or whatever. How important is credit in this whole thing, and what are the workarounds there?
Yeah, obviously credit plays into who gets approved or who doesn't.
Yep.
But what I try to caution contractors is don't try to become a loan officer in the home. Don't make any assumptions. Offer financing to every single customer that you have, and you're going to get a vast majority of them approved. Some of them are going to be declined, and that's just the way of it. You can't help every single customer, but I can assure you, versus doing nothing, it's certainly going to help your business. So don't get too caught up in asking what the credit score is, and it's awkward.
Yeah, I wouldn't even probably ask that, right? Just let the credit application do its thing on its own, right?
Yeah, and again, I go back to just offering financing in general. You've just met these people 30, 40 minutes ago. Do you have that enough rapport for them to disclose their personal details about their credit? It might turn some customers off. Mm-hmm. Good credit customers, too, might be offended by it. Don't assume anything. Process everybody, treat everybody the same, submit them through, let us make the decision and give you the decision back.
What kind of impact are you seeing from customers who are actually adopting financing right now?
So the contractors that do well with our systems are seeing a couple of things. One, they're closing more business because now you're capturing those customers that you didn't have before. Two, we see the average ticket go up. And we get feedback from our contractors all the time that they're able to do add-ons, warranties, things that the customers want that they didn't think they could afford before.
That's awesome.
And then third, and this one is not as common, but we get a lot of anecdotal feedback that their customers send more referrals because you're solving a real-world problem for these customers that weren't sure how they were going to pay for this, in some cases, emergency service. They're so ecstatic with the service provided by the contractor, they refer more business their way.
We're seeing a lot of contractors have a little bit of a trepidation around adopting financing and not really sure whether or not it's right for their business because of this or that reason. Usually it's fees, or they're also used to collecting checks. My question is, what's the most helpful thing for the homeowner in this scenario?
So the pain that most customers are feeling is, how are they going to afford this project? You're solving a big part of that problem by presenting a finance option. Specifically, when you look at some of the emergency services like roofing, HVAC, water heaters, these are not planned purchases. And in a lot of cases, they're events that happen upon the customer suddenly. By giving that customer a finance option, first, you're bringing that stress level down, you're giving them peace of mind, and you're helping them pay for the project. They're already freaked out that they have to do this, that they don't want to anyway.
Yeah.
Whether or not they have the money, you don't really know. So offering a finance solution helps ease through that entire process for the customer.
So you've got a customer who's already in pain. Their house is leaking or whatever. They got massive water damage. And then you're adding more flame onto that pain by saying, hey, you have to go find your checkbook and pay me. And by the way, it's a huge lump sum that you didn't expect you were going to pay. Don't do that. Instead, offer them a financing solution that makes the pain less, not worse, in that moment when they need you the most.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kevin. All right, so to recap, you can close more deals with financing. You can get homeowners access to better materials and products because they can actually afford them with financing. And finally, you're solving your customers' biggest pain points. All right, thanks for joining us today. We'll be back next time. Keep on building your business.